Briefly, a word of introduction on our panelists. Kevin, you may have heard him earlier today in the seminar sessions. He is the senior pastor of University Reformed Church, East Lansing, Michigan State, since August 2004. He was born outside Chicago, grew up in Michigan, went to Hope College, Gordon Conwell. His wife is Tricia, has 4 children, and has authored 5 books. Tullian, a Florida native, grandson of a traveling evangelist, I believe. You were the founding pastor of the former New City Church, which merged with Coral Ridge Presbyterian in Fort Lauderdale, and that was just April of 2009. And he's now the senior pastor of Coral Ridge. Tullian, on the Gospel Coalition site, I think they had posted a joke about you. It says, Tullian loves the beach, loves to exercise, and when has time, loves to surf. Serious. Bert Parsons. Oh, here we go. We do have more. Wife of 16 years, Kim. 3 children, Gabe, Nate, Jenna. Okay, very good. And Burke is not only the former Backstreet Boy, but minister of congregational life at St. Andrew's Chapel with Dr. Sproul. Editor of the Table Talk magazine, one of my favorites. And he is editor of 2 books that I know of, is that right? His wife is Amber. They live in Longwood, Florida with their children. And you know Pastor Piper, probably, if you're here at this conference. So guys, let me dive in right away with the message that we just saw. Make the most of the time here. I think Kevin and Tullian had to come into the session late. But let me ask Burke and John, just for initial reflections on the message we just heard from Rick.
Well, David, I'm almost afraid to say what I think I should say, because I'm afraid of what people I love and think highly of would think of me when I say that I was actually just amazed by how much, biblical content and just helpful, simple, straightforward admonition and challenge we received from Rick this evening. I'd never heard Rick preach before. I don't know if I've ever heard him speak. I've read Purpose-Driven Church. I've read portions of Purpose-Driven Life. And I've read different articles that he's put out and so forth, but I never actually heard him speak. And what I think amazed me, let me just say this, it's not so much dealing with the message itself, but what I saw was a man, and I'm thinking, okay, this is a man that God has used that he's used mightily in his kingdom, both in this country and throughout the world. And I'm just looking at this man's character, and as he spoke, and as he spoke to a camera, mind you, not to this group here, but to a camera, which is very difficult to do. And I was blown away by a man and his simple, childlike dependence and faith on Christ. That was just beautiful to see. And it was just, I think, at every turn and at every step and everything he said, I saw that. And that meant a lot to me as a young pastor, to see that from a man who served the Lord for as many years as he has, to see that his dependence on the Lord has grown.
Oh my. It was a remarkable message in many ways, but I think the one thing I'll say is how intimidating this must feel to all of us. The guy is unbelievable communicator, right? What he means by application is something he does like nobody else. He's got everything broken down. There's 5 steps here, 3 steps here, and 5 steps here, and they're all insightful and rooted in the Bible, and they make me feel utterly unable to do it. So I think that what I should say to... He thought you were all pastors, and you could tell he was talking that way, but a lot of you are. And what I want to say is, nobody believes that you should be you more than Rick Warren, and that you shouldn't be him. And so if you come away from that feeling, that was at 10 o'clock last night, at a desk, quoting 50 scriptures from memory and having alliteration and having lists. I'm quitting. I'm just quitting. Then just take heart, because that's the way I felt. I mean, I would. Let me go at a little theological piece that might just explain that a little bit. You know the part where he talked about application, and there were 14 life applications in my week, and I can only manage one. And so teach your people less and work the application piece more. There is a certain approach towards application there that isn't me. Meaning, you give the message, you give the doctrine, you give the content, and then you turn towards, now, let's make a covenant with each other. Let's get 5 things, and we're going to check on you next week. And he builds an unbelievable, effective ministry that way. There is another way to think about transformation, and it is that if roots go down deep and a tree gets healthy, it bears fruit. And that you might, week in and week out, so feed your people, so thrill your people, so deepen your people, that they're bearing fruit in 30 years when the person who did the thing each week doesn't. You know, if he were here, he'd get all over me about that, you know. And he'd say, oh, no, I'm not excluding that. It's both ends, it's not either one. That's right. But I'm saying I'm on the or side here. If C.J. Mahaney were here, he'd get on my case too. Piper, you need to apply more. Be more. Give another 10 minutes of your sermon to application. I say, okay, that's right, C.J. Okay, and I try, and I just never have time. So I just want you to be encouraged that if it feels like Saul's armor to try to imitate that, he probably is. He is him. He is him. And one of the big issues with any big shot that you put up, people tend to feel like, okay, to have a successful church, we've got to do it this way. And I just want to say it ain't necessarily so. Just relax with who you are and just give it all to Jesus and learn as much as you can from Rick.
I think CJ is here. I saw him at dinner because he was with Kevin.
So is that what you would say, CJ?
CJ,
Color it out.
Come and get all over John.